What's going on? I want to talk about the Xbox backwards compatibility program that, Microsoft just gave the axe to. The news, which ain't really news. And the reason why it ain't news is because backwards compatibility for the Xbox wasn't really backwards compatibility. It was just games that was able to run on Xbox consoles, newer Xbox consoles. That's all. It wasn't true backwards compatibility. I feel like true backwards compatibility is when you can run all games via hardware or emulation. You can run all games or most games. I would say 95% games on the console. That's true backwards compatibility. Without that, if you run it only 50, 60, 70% even, I wouldn't even call it backwards compatibility. And 70% is really, me being generous. But the truth is it's not backwards compatibility. People fake mad about it, talking about, oh, this is the end of game preservation. That wasn't preserving games anyways. That wasn't preserving games. Preserving games, I would say, is true backwards compatibility, where you make a brand new hardware, brand new console, and you can stick all your old games, or you can go get old games from eBay, whatever, and you can stick it in the console and it'll run it. That's true backwards compatibility. So no, it's not. It's not a backwards compatibility program. It's just, it wasn't backwards compatibility program. It was just an old games program. I think people are really mad about the whole thing is because it makes the Xbox console more valuable. Because let's be real. I'm gonna be real. It's a cool feature to run old games from back in 2002 and put it in your Xbox in 2022, 21, whatever. That's a cool feature. That's pretty cool. The problem is there's not a lot of games that you can put in there. There's just selective games. And I get it. It's all, business and, you just can't easily do that. But it ain't no different than what any people talk about. Sony made, make you buy your games all over again. They didn't have backwards compatibility. Okay. So what? It wasn't that much better than, it ain't that much worse than what Xbox got going on right now. Well, they really ain't got nothing going on right now because they killed the program. This ain't even me hating, man. It's just that, the fake narratives, and I just wanted to speak on it. I just wanted to speak my mind on the whole thing. Backwards compatibility is for Xbox was just a cool feature. And it made the console a little bit more valuable. A little bit more. And I wouldn't even say, I honestly wouldn't even say that, to be honest with you. Because like I said, I had a ton of games that I can't even run. I got original Xbox games that would not even run on the Xbox One X. It won't run on the Xbox Series X. And I don't have one, but I know it won't run because there's a list. You can Google it. There's a list you could that tell you which games run and what wouldn't run. So yeah, man. People talk about the end of game preservation. There wasn't no preservation with that program whatsoever. Wasn't nothing preserving nothing. It was all emulation. And then on top of that, I think, yeah, as a matter of fact, when you stick the disc in, it had to re-download the game from the internet anyways. So it really ain't a big deal. People just, I think, you want to know what game preservation is? True game preservation is when you keep your old console and you keep your games and you don't do nothing with them. That's preservation. That's about as good as a preserving as you're going to get these days. Because anything besides that ain't preservation. The cool thing about the Xbox Series X and the PS5 is that you can run last gen games on the console. That's backwards compatibility with last gen. But to go beyond that, that's above and beyond, to be honest with you. Honestly, I feel like you can run If they wanted to, they can probably make it to where you can run all those old games on the console. Really. I think the only problem is it would cause them it would make the console makers lose money because they can just resell you the old games anyway, which people ain't really buying. At least I don't think so. People are interested in new games. A new console for new games. You want to play old games, buy an old console or keep the console you got. You know what I mean? People just want to make a big deal out of nothing. Yes, backwards compatibility in hardware, game consoles make the game console more valuable. Infinitely more valuable if it's true backwards compatibility. Can you imagine if all those games from back 20 years ago up until now can run on these new systems? You know how amazing that would be? It would be amazing. It would probably make the used market skyrocket. Just because, and people would just buy games just because it'll run. Probably that's what I would think. I know personally, if I didn't have any old consoles and I had a new console and we can run all the old games, I would probably get just old games just to be like, oh, let me revisit these old games and play for about 5 minutes because that's what a lot of people do anyways. Play for about 5 minutes, get the little nostalgic kick out of the way, and boom, they on to the new games. Yep, that's all I wanted to say. Xbox backwards compatibility program being axed ain't news. That's all. It's not really news. Nobody really cares, really. Nobody really cares. It just, for the console war purposes, it just, it loses ammo. You lose ammo. If you're an Xbox guy, you lost a little ammo. That's all it is. And it really wasn't even ammo because PlayStation guys didn't give a damn. I know I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a crap about a backwards compatibility on the Xbox because there were a ton of games that I own right now that I can't even stick in my Xbox today. And I'm talking about the One X. I can't play a lot of games. Again, it was a cool program. And, it ain't news. But I just wanted to speak on it. Because backwards compatibility for Xbox wasn't backwards compatibility.